In this video, we'll learn how to register a widget area. In our last video, we learned how to create our two-column template, and we called in our sidebar, but we don't yet have our sidebar. And we could just create our sidebar.php file and add some static HTML for our sidebar, but I want to take this a step further and register our sidebar as a widget area. And what this is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to populate our sidebar using the widget editor in WordPress's interface. And the advantage of this is if we want to customize our sidebar, we don't have to dive into our template files. And this makes it much more user-friendly for something like a client to come in if they want to change sidebar content, since we don't have a page editing screen like we do for full pages. So the way we do that is we need to come into functions.php, and then we're going to use a specific function to register our sidebar widget. And that function we're going to use is called register_sidebar, and it takes a set of arguments such as name, so we can give the name or the title of a sidebar, and this is going to be shown in the widget's interface. We can give it a custom ID and class, description, and we also have the ability to prepend and append HTML strings before and after our widget. So we have a lot of control over the structure of our widget. So this is awesome. So we're going to switch over to our functions.php file. And right below where we called in our style sheets, I'm just going to copy this comment, and then we're going to add a new section, and I'm going to say register widget areas. And we're going to create a custom function to register a widget, and I'm just going to call this glass-eye widget init, because it's going to initialize our widgets. And inside of here, we're going to use that register sidebar function. So I'm going to say register our sidebar, and then we're going to pass it an array of arguments. And the first argument we want to give this is a name, because a sidebar must have a name. And we're going to call our sidebar. Oops, we need a equals. We're going to call it main sidebar. And first I'm going to add some double underscores here. And if you aren't familiar with what this does, is it's just a little piece of syntax that's going to tell WordPress that this is available for localization, meaning since this is going in the interface, we want this to be available for translating if someone changes the language settings of their WordPress site. That way it's not going to be in English, it's going to go ahead and know to translate this along with other things it should translate. So just a little aside there. And we're going to call this main sidebar. And then the second argument we're going to pass this is going to be a text domain. So I'm going to call this glass-eye. And then after this, we're going to give our widget an ID of main-sidebar. I'm also going to give it a description. And this is going to go on the interface as well, or be shown on the widgets page. So I'm going to add that double underscore. And then I'm going to say widgets added here will appear in all pages using the two-column template. And then I'm going to pass it that same text domain. And then we're going to add some HTML before our widget. So I want my widget to be in sections. So I'm going to say section, and then we're going to pass a value to our ID that's going to allow PHP to generate a unique ID for this. So that's just %1, a $, and then an S. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the class, except for I also want it to have a class of widget. And then we're going to put %2 here, and then $S. And then I want to make sure I add my closing bracket. And then after my widget, I want to add my closing section tag. And then we have two more arguments I want to give it. I want to give it a before title, which is going to wrap our title in an H2 tag, because I want this to be an H2. And I also want to add a class of widget title, so we can pull in our CSS styles there. And then after our title, so after underscore title, I want to close our H2. And then our next step is we want to add an action, so this function actually executes. So we're going to say add action, and the specific action is going to be widgets underscore init. And then we want to pass our function as a second argument. So when the widgets are being initialized, it's going to also initialize our sidebar or register it as a widget area. And then add our semicolon, hit S to save. And now we've registered our sidebar as a widget area. So in our next video, we're going to create our template for our new dynamic widget sidebar.